This is the face card of someone who has been waiting to get her revenge. And she did. Marinette Dupancheng, you will always be an icon.
She's an icon, she's a legend, and she is the moment. Now come on now.
Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's the one and only, your girl, the Cartoon Hotspot, and in today's video, we are going to be analyzing the episodes Revelation and Confrontation. If you're interested in my thoughts, then stick around, give this video a thumbs up, and for new viewers, be sure to subscribe to my channel and hit that bell button to receive post notifications. Without further ado, let's begin. To briefly summarize Revelation, the episode begins with Lila talking to her mum on the phone, and then suddenly another mum walks in. But like, if you remember in season 2 or something, she had another mum who's like an ambassador of Italy, I don't know. And then another mum from the episode Risk. So in total, she has 4 mums? What? Okay, anyways, whilst Lila is at Sabine's art class, she receives a notification that she is no longer the face of the Aggress brand, and she has been replaced by Kagami. She then confronts Gabriel and questions why this has happened, despite her helping him on numerous occasions. And Gabriel's response is that he only needed her for one mission, and even then, she failed to keep Marinette away from Adrian. Therefore, she has been fired. Lila becomes enraged, and Gabriel senses this negative emotion, but refrains from akumatizing her, because her anger is directed at him, so it would be way too risky. Adrian arrive at school, hand in hand, and are confused as to why the entire school is so focused on the alliance rings. The class question Adrian if his dad is aware that he is dating Marinette, and the two of them state that Gabriel can try all he wants to tear them apart, but what matters is that they know the truth and Kagami knows the truth. During class, Miss Bustier discovers Sabrina has been doing Chloe's homework for years, and instead of punishing Chloe, she actually ends up rewarding her, stating that she's going to need some help since she has most definitely fallen behind on studies. Marinette protests and demands that Chloe not be rewarded because there are honest students who actually need the help. It's unjust that Chloe is given preferential treatment. Lila capitalizes on this and states that Marinette's newly found relationship with Adrian has distracted her, and thus she isn't fit to be class representative anymore. She says that she wants to run because at least then she'd be able to help Chloe and prove to the class that she cares about everyone, unlike Marinette. And even though there are 2 weeks left in the school year, Miss Bustier allows Lila to run for class representative. Marinette tries to persuade Alia and Nino of her distrust of Lila, and even Adrian supports her, but it's pretty much futile. Alia and Nino are just not convinced. Lila delivers her speech and instructs Chloe to follow in her footsteps. She announces that Chloe will be her vice rep, and the entire class is astounded at how quickly Lila was able to change Chloe. Marinette gives her speech, but the class isn't so convinced. Lila then collapses into tears and explains that she was dismissed by Gabriel and that Marinette labeled her an idiot, even though Marinette didn't say that at all. Lila then runs out of the class, and this is the interesting part. She forces herself to feel anger. Monarch picks up on this and realizes the anger is no longer directed at him, but rather at Marinette, so he willingly akumatizes Lila into hoaxer. Her mission is to capture Marinette, and she uses the alliance rings to brainwash the entire city of Paris into doing her evil will. Ladybug calls upon her lucky charm, which leads her to her bedroom, and she realizes that she needs to confront Lila as Marinette, so she gives her miraculous to Alia so she can take over as Scarabella. Meanwhile, Natalie has been brainwashed as well, and Hoaxer commands her to divulge all of Gabriel's secrets. Oh, by the way, since I didn't mention this, yeah, Lila has known Gabriel is Monarch since the episode, Emotion, I think. And unfortunately, poor Natalie blindly follows orders and takes pictures of literally everything. And I mean everything. Pictures of her adventures with Emily and Gabriel, pictures of the grimoire, which will not end well at all. Pictures of Emily in her glass repository. Yeah, Gabriel is pretty much screwed. In fact, everyone is screwed. Marinette confronts Hoaxer and she breaks out of the Akuma but smiles deviously to herself. Lila is then elected as class representative and Marinette vows to prove to everyone who Lila really is. At the end of the episode, Lila collects her phone from her locker and receives a bunch of photos that Natalie sent her. Yikes. Okay, let's get into Confrontation now. The episode picks up pretty much where Revelation ended, and I'm assuming this takes place roughly a couple of days after the events of Revelation. But anyways, Marinette is at the library and she expresses her concerns over the next teacher class rep meeting. As the former class representative, she was in charge of asking each student what they wanted to be and having them fill out a form. Then what happens in the meeting is that the class representative presents the career that every student wishes to pursue, and the teachers decide whether their grades will be fit for them to do so. Marinette is worried because Chloe and Lila are now class representatives and something is bound to go wrong. Adrian assures her that if something does go wrong, which it will, they will figure it out. Meanwhile, Adrian has no idea what he wants to be in the future, but luckily for him, he has a little bit of time. Marinette hands the forms to Chloe and Lila, and at home, they order Sabrina to shred the forms and make new ones by putting down the wrong careers for each student by forging their handwritings. Sabrina is obviously skeptical about this and doesn't want to do so. Back at school, the Resistance are having a meeting, and Nino decides that in order to defeat evil and stay together as a group, they'd have to go to the same high school. During this, Marinette steps out as she receives a call and returns with a slight frown on her face, but then that's just about it. Adrian, having finally decided what he wants to do, hands his form to Lila, and in the bathroom she reads it out loud, which states that he doesn't know what he wants to be, but all he is sure of is that he's in love with Marinette, which is so cute and adorable. Adrianette for the win. During the teacher rep meeting, Miss Boussier's suspicions are raised when she hears of some of the students' career choices. For example, Alia's form reads that she wants to be an optician, but we all know she wants to be a reporter. And Julica's form states that she wants to repeat a year even though she already has repeated a year. But Boussier doesn't really say anything about it, so they just kind of accept it, I guess. And when the class receive the results, they are confused and outraged, and Julica gets akumatized into Reflector. The Akuma battle is over as quickly as it began, so we return to school where Marinette is accused of fabricating the forms, because whereas everyone else's is inaccurate, hers is the only one that is correct and true to her choice of career, fashion designing, which immediately makes her look suspicious. However, Marinette remains calm and states that she wouldn't even be able to forge a form because she doesn't know how to. The only person who's capable of forging handwriting is Sabrina. Sabrina then has an outburst, revealing that Lila and Chloe threatened her to do so and promises to find proof. She then runs out of the class to the bathroom, and Chloe and Lila chase her, and Lila states that whatever proof Sabrina has won't mean anything because she'll just come up with another lie. After all, she convinced everyone that Marinette pushed her down the stairs. She convinced everyone that she was halfway across the world just to get out of going to school. And she can very well convince Sabrina's own dad to put Sabrina in jail. And it's at that moment Sabrina smirks and boasts that there was never any proof, but that Lila just gave her the proof she needed. She clicks a button and it's revealed that the entire class was standing outside of the bathroom, having overheard the entire conversation.
Je n'avais pas de preuves. Enfin, jusqu'à maintenant.
You see, when Marinette received that call earlier on, it was from Sabrina, asking her of what to do. Marinette tells her to do exactly what they're asking of her. She puts a fake out of order sign on the bathroom and a new one is built. She then places a microphone under the sink that would record and expose Lila. Marinette Dupancheng, you have done it again. Towards the end of the episode, Damocles expels Lila and Chloe, but then Mayor Bourgeois threatens him and he nearly gets akumatized. The entire class encourages him to resist the akuma, but to no luck. It's then that Julica overcomes her speech impediment and gives Damocles the push he needs, thus his magical charm is transformed into a shield that repels the akuma and even purifies it. Damocles resigns from his job, Lila disappears, but then it's revealed she has a bigger plan and even takes off her wig, which by the way, she's been wearing a wig for like the past 5 seasons, so who the hell even is this person? Who are you? And that's pretty much it. Now that we've summarized both episodes, let's get into our talking points. First up, Sabrina. Okay, I'm just gonna be straight with you. I still don't like Sabrina. Never have, never will. No amount of money will convince me to like her. I'm sorry, I'm just not gonna be moved. Now, before I get jumped for being too harsh, let me explain. My issues with Sabrina actually doesn't have much to do with her personality, although I think she has a terrible personality, but no, my gripes are actually with her writing. I think Sabrina is quite an interesting character and had the potential to be fascinating, and I stand by that. The problem is her redemption, if that's what we're going to call it. It's not very convincing. You see, the episode tries its best to tell us that Sabrina is starting to regret being Chloe's personal minion for the sole reason that she realizes what she's doing is wrong. But how do you expect me to believe that when in the episode Perfection, season 5, episode 12, Chloe says to Lila,
"You've earned your place as my best friend."
And it's obvious that Sabrina is pretty disheartened about this. It's like once Sabrina's position as Chloe's best friend was threatened, that's when she decided, oh, I don't want to hurt people anymore. A huge problem with Miraculous is that the show would often try to portray one narrative and then accidentally have scenes that go against the very same narrative. With Sabrina, an example I can think of is in Adoration. She didn't want to steal from Marinette and even states that stealing goes against everything she stands for. And I'm like, that's not true. Not even close, because in season 1, the episode Darkblade, she stole her diary. And I'm sorry, but Sabrina has been willing to do much worse, but stealing is where she draws the line? Yeah, sure. Now, I mentioned Sabrina is an interesting character, so I want to elaborate on that. Sabrina's character teaches you that when you are a sheep and unable to stand up for yourself and stand up for your values, it can be very harmful. Following the crowd and wanting to be accepted, even if that means doing terrible things you don't stand for, is the worst thing you can do for yourself. It's better to be alone than to have bad company. Here's the thing, whilst Chloe is the main bully, Sabrina isn't as innocent as everyone thinks she is. People act like she's an angel who's being forced to hang out with Chloe against her will, but did you all forget the episode Evillustrator? Marinette reached out to Sabrina and offered to be her friend. And it's not like Sabrina isn't likable. She would very well get along with the class. Sabrina actively chose to stick by Chloe. Sabrina actively chose to lock Julika in the bathroom, which, by the way, if Julika was claustrophobic, she would have very well had a panic attack. Sabrina chose to lie to Sabine just so she can steal Marinette's diary. Sabrina chose to tell Chloe that Marinette has a crush on Kim and was the one recording the entire prank and had a smirk on her face. If you are a bystander of bullying and abuse and actively participating in it, yeah, that makes Sabrina almost as bad as Chloe. But now she wants to be a good person? No, she only decided to join the side of good because Lila came into the picture. You see, if there was a genuine build-up of Sabrina realizing her values are being compromised and having multiple characters call her out on her behavior, then I'd be more convinced. She actually needs to earn forgiveness of her classmates, especially Marinette, and she needs to prove why she has changed and why she should be trusted. If a character is just easily forgiven, it makes it difficult to sympathize with them and root for them. And I'm sorry, but Sabrina Runcompre, you deserve better writing. Baby girl, you deserve better writing. But I still don't like you, so let's move on. The next thing I want to discuss is Gabriel losing to Lila. I'm going to talk about something known as poetic justice. Poetic justice deals with the idea that good deeds are rewarded whilst evil ones are punished. Now, it's been established since the beginning of the show that Gabriel is the big bad villain. Then Lila is introduced, and Gabriel recognizes her potential and what a valuable asset she could be. He then strikes a deal with her, and Lila has never failed to deliver on time. So it's understandable that when Gabriel abruptly turns cold on her, Lila strikes back. And she strikes back hard. You see, Gabriel may have accidentally created a bigger monster and he doesn't even know it. After all, there is a saying that you shouldn't bite the hand that feeds you. Where poetic justice enters the picture is at the start of season 5, Gabriel launches the Alliance Rings. It's essentially a veil or a conduit or a medium through which the power of the miraculous can be transferred between Monarch and the akumatized victim. It's genius, I'm not even gonna lie, it's brilliant. Monarch's methods are practically hidden in plain sight because the heroes are trying to figure out how akumatized villains can just have the power of the miraculous without the magical tools physically being on them, when the answer is right in front of them. In fact, members of the resistance own an alliance ring. It's crazy and it's just brilliant. Gabriel Agreste is a man of secrets, and he has made it very clear that he will go to any length to keep those secrets hidden, including Cataclysm in himself. Now, when he decided to cross Lila, which was just very idiotic, Lila decided to uncover those secrets for herself by using the very thing that's allowing him to have the upper hand against Ladybug and Cat Noir, the Alliance Rings. But let's take this one step further. Who's been by Gabriel's side? Who has stood by him and helped him conceal his secret, even going as far as to use a damaged miraculous to assist him? Natalie. And it was Natalie who ended up inadvertently revealing all his secrets. The Alliance Rings and Natalie have been Gabriel's biggest weapon, and yet those same weapons were turned against him. Lila beat Gabriel at his own game. In fact, she outplayed him with his own methods. And that, my friends, is poetic justice. The next thing I want to talk about is how Marinette always comes out on top over her enemies. I've already spoken about how Marinette beat Felix at his own game in the episode Emotion, so be sure to check that video out. well. But let's talk about how Marinette won against Lila for now. It's been established earlier on in the series that you cannot beat Lila by simply stating she is a liar. You just can't. And in Revelation, even Alia states that every time Marinette accuses Lila of something, there's never any evidence to back her up. So no matter what happens, Lila will always be one step ahead. You see, as mentioned before, Lila is calculating. She has a backup plan for the backup plan and a backup plan for the backup plan for the backup plan. And even when she doesn't, she's extremely patient, calm and collected, and will instantly, and I mean instantly, cover up her tracks if need be. Lila will go along with the flow, have you right where you want to be, and act as if she's on your side, when really she is scheming and has you wrapped around her finger. So what did Marinette need to do? She needed to let Lila believe she won. In other words, she needed to beat Lila at her own game, and she did so brilliantly. To beat the villain, you need to be the better villain. You need to start thinking in the mindset of the villain, because Lila anticipates every person's move. That's how much of a master manipulator she is. And the irony is, she didn't anticipate Marinette using her own moves against her. So she never saw it coming. Now, Marinette is pretty impulsive and impatient, which is why Lila has always had the upper hand against her. So Marinette needed to remain calm and let things play out the way Lila wants them to play out. She needed Lila to get trapped in her own web of lies. She needed to play the long game because Lila plays the long game, and Marinette had to imitate Lila's methods of approach. Being a liar and a manipulator means you are creative. Let's establish that. Lila is highly creative. Her creativity is used to manipulate people. But who else is also creative? Who else is literally the embodiment of creation? Marinette. It's why she always and will always win the battle. Her creativity is quite literally her superpower, and it never fails her. So by remembering that her creativity is her super weapon, Marinette was able to trap Lila into exposing herself. It was never really about Marinette exposing Lila, because that never worked out in the past. What better person to hear of a manipulator's lies than the manipulator herself? After all, what more credible than the original source? And finally, the last talking point of this video is Ladybug's magical charms. I just love how much Maribug's powers have evolved, and I find it poetic that Monarch preys on people's negative emotions to weaponize them to his advantage, but it's positive emotions that power the magical charms and protects its wearer. Since the episode Dearest Family, we were kind of under the impression that Shadowmoth one-upped Ladybug, but no. He didn't. The magical charm doesn't just protect the wearer regardless, because the only way to combat negative emotions is to use positive emotions. Your emotions can be your greatest weakness, but they can also be your greatest weapon. In other words, you actually have to fight an internal battle, which is what we see Mr. Damocles do. So no, the Mega Akuma isn't stronger than Ladybug's magical charms. It never has been. The stronger the will to resist the akumatization, the greater the defense. Now, I might be overanalyzing here, but when am I never overanalyzing? But if you remember the episode Mr. Pigeon 72, Ladybug was kind of on the verge of giving up because she made a promise to Mr. Ramier that she would protect him from getting akumatized by Shadowmoth again. So when it seemed like she wasn't able to deliver on that promise, what emotion was that? Disappointment in herself. But then when Rena Rouge encourages her that her powers are limitless, that disappointment was immediately replaced and countered by hope and determination, which is what the charms actually represent. The charms are a symbol of hope and resilience. The point of the magical charms is that sometimes a hero can't always save you. However, there is a hero in everybody. You first have to be willing and prepared to save yourself. And that starts with the internal battle of fighting your negative emotions. And that brings us to the end of this analysis video. Revelation and Confrontation were both great episodes. I absolutely love the use of poetic justice, and honestly, Marinette and Lila absolutely carried these episodes, which makes me even more excited to see more of their rivalry played out. As always, now I want to put it to you guys. What did you think of Revelation and Confrontation? Loved them? Hated them? Let me know in the comment section below. But as for today, that's it from me, and I'll see you again next time.